In the second part to 7000 to 6000 BC chapter from Chronology of the World in our series Great Books, Chronology of the World by Isaac Asimov, we have the second part, part 2 of the chapter 7000 to 6000 BC. We'll go from where we left. By 6000 BC, pottery was a well established product. Pottery made it possible not only to carry liquids but to cook meat in boiling water. In this way, stews and casseroles came into existence to supplement roasts. The notion behind the weaving of twigs into baskets could be applied to fibers that were much thinner, provided they were sufficiently strong. Flax produces a fiber suitable for the purpose, and flax was being cultivated well before 6000 BC. Well before 6000 BC. This chapter is what happened in the world from 7000 BC to 6000 BC, right? Almost 10,000 years back. Flax produces a fiber suitable for the purpose, and flax was being cultivated well before 6000 BC. It may well have been the first plant cultivated for a purpose other than food. Flax fibers would be woven together to form a long thread, which we call a linen. We know that. The importance of a linen thread as an example of something long and straight can be gathered from the fact that the word line comes from linen. It's very interesting. There's so many interesting facts. The word line comes from linen, long and thin. By now, the use of farms along river banks was becoming much more important. See the development. It was becoming much more important. And rivers became important in other ways too. Rivers became important in other ways too. The first use, the first use of linen may have been to interweave them in such a way as to form nets for fishing. See how everything is getting interrelated. Eventually, very fine nets were made. In other words, cloth or textiles from a Latin word for weaving, formation of cloth from linen and eventually from other plant or animal fibers such as cotton or wool revolutionized clothing. Textiles were light materials. They were flexible, porous, porous, water could go through it and could be easily cleaned. They have remained the preferred material for clothing even today. See how similar it is to present world. Always connect to present world. And also remember we are explaining why the world is what it is. And how we came so far. That's all. Why is the world what it is? How did the world come so far? If you know every detail, event, idea, person, leader, then facts will speak, right? How can you understand without learning history? And contained in history is sciences and maths and literature. That is integrative education. Life by a river meant that some means of traversing it. Life by a river meant that some means of traversing it had to be found. It must have been observed long, long before that wood floats. By 6000 BC, people seem to have learned to lash logs together to form rafts, RAFTS rafts. This would keep them safely on the surface of quiet bodies of water and enable them to fish more efficiently than from the shore by paddling. In fact, with their hands, if nothing else, they could even cross small stretches of water. About this time, too, the wild ox had been tamed, and this was the ancestor of modern domestic cattle, which became perhaps the most important food animal in the world. This is the completion of chapter 7000 to 6000 BC. Next chapter 6000 to 5000 BC. Next chapter to that is 5000 to 4000 BC. It goes on like that. And as you come towards the present, the chapter becomes bigger and bigger until you come to 1950. That is a beautiful book, Chronology of the World. We'll stop here. In the next video, we'll come to 6000 to 5000 BC. Again, we'll have two videos for each chapter. Thank you.